Welcome to this episode of the Metal Verbalizers podcast. I am Johan Verbalizer, and today I have a new great band to recommend, Methane. Methane is a thrash metal band from Sweden. The band Methane was founded in the year of 2012 and was started by members who came from other bands such as Revenant, Hell Patrol, and Cryonic Temple. But on top of the thrash metal sound, Methane is also adding a type of groove to their music. I believe that this creates a pretty cool sound. Even though I would go as far as to call Methane a death and thrash metal band, I still feel that you can clearly hear a lot of death metal, on not the least on a record such as Kill It With Fire. There's a lot of things, like a lot of kind of like small details here and there that really reminds me of kind of like a kind of death metal style, so to speak. So there, I would say that there's also a lot of like kind of death metal things here and there. So if you're into kind of like the thrash metal with a lot of groove, but also with a lot of kind of like aspects from death metal to kind of get that really like heavy and very like powerful type of thrash metal, I think you'll definitely like Methane. And another interesting fact about Methane that I believe could be relevant to kind of give you sort of an idea about the kind of like the type of the band, so to speak, is that Methane has opened for bands such as Whiplash, Warbringer, The Haunted, and Nervosa. When it comes to the band's influences, they have explained that they are very influenced by old school thrash metal bands such as Slayer and Creator, which is indeed very noticeable in Methane's music, in my opinion. And I'm gonna come back to that a little bit in just a moment. However, Methane has also mentioned newer bands as influences as well, such as the great new wave thrash metal band Havoc. So basically, if you like bands like Slayer, Creator, and Havoc, there's a very big chance that you'll really like Methane. And there's a lot of things in Methane's sound and music that really makes me kind of like think about bands like Slayer and Creator, which, as I said, like I think that like a band like Methane having influences such as Slayer and Creator is very noticeable in Methane's music. For example, I personally feel that songs such as the title track Kill It With Fire and Shock and Awe, for example, give me a lot of Creator vibes. And in a similar way, I would say that I feel that songs such as Stone Garden and Thin the Herd give me a lot of Slayer vibes. You know, Slayer's type of like slower songs, such as South of Heaven, for example. If these songs were actually really inspired by songs like South of Heaven by Slayer, I think that it would be really noticeable. But on the other hand, I would just like to kind of clarify it, that these songs by Methane are by no means like a rip-off or South of Heaven or anything like that. That's not at all my point here. They don't sound like Slayer, but you can hear a lot of like kind of like similarities, I would say, to that type of kind of like slow-paced, heavy type of thrash metal that you know, that South of Heaven is an example of. So if you like Slayer, and I would say especially a song like South of Heaven, I would strongly recommend that you check out songs like Stone Garden and Thin the Herd by Methane. Regarding the lyrical themes of Methane, the band doesn't seem to entirely dedicate their music to like only one theme like that. But the general consensus seems to me to be that the lyrics are dealing with a lot of like, I guess you could call it like social struggles, such as, you know, war, religion, and other forms of like injustice. Some of Methane's lyrics are written with a more serious and darker tone, such as songs like Declare Chaos and Shock and Awe, while others have a more satirical tone, such as the song Accuser of the Brethren. The song was actually inspired by a popular video clip showing a woman trying to convert customers in a Walmart. This is something that I really like about a band such as Methane, which is something that I would like kind of want to mention. That's something I really like with Methane, and not the least a record such as Kill It With Fire, and that is that there's like kind of a change in pace and some change in mood as well, I would say. Not only regarding this type of change in lyrical content, but also musically, I would say. If you look at an album such as Kill It With Fire, songs like Thin the Herd are significantly faster and more aggressive than a song such as, for example, Accuser of the Brethren. This is something that I'm personally a big fan of when bands can like really do that. Like, as much of a fan I am of you know, like really aggressive and really fast music, listening to an album with only fast songs, like the whole album is like really fast all the way through, that will eventually kind of like almost make me kind of tired, you know, with the lack of better words for it. It's like I usually prefer it when albums have some kind of change, you know, in mood or speed. Like I would say that Kill It With Fire by Methane really does. It has the kind of like really aggressive, really fast songs, and then they have the little bit more, you know, kind of like groovier and like a little bit slower as well. And I think that that's something that is a very great thing when an album does, you know, kind of like as I'm talking about, you know, this kind of like change in pace and change in mood, which is something that I think that you should really check out Kill It With Fire, because I believe that if you listen through the album, I think you'll understand kind of what I mean with the kind of like change in pace and mood, and that's something I really like. Methane's latest album, Kill It With Fire, which I've talked a little bit about during this episode, was actually released in January this year, in 2023. The band's main priority right now seems to be to continue to promote this album, and also that they will be doing an European tour with the band Massacre this coming July. They will be playing in countries such as Austria, Poland, Hungary, Croatia, Italy, and also Germany. So if you can show up to one of these shows, I would strongly encourage you to do so. Having said that, I believe that this is a great way to end the episode. We at Metal Verbalizers really appreciate that you've been listening to this episode until the end. If you enjoyed this episode, then it would be great if you'd like to give us a follow and help us spread the word. This way you can support both us as a podcast, but also the bands that we are verbalizing. We will be back next week with more verbalizing.